Hi, Paul. Hi, Selena. Hi, Paul. Welcome to the live stream. My camera is like, oh yeah, I think that's better. Selena, you're asking where I'm cooking from. I am in Eastern Europe. Specifically, I'm in Bulgaria. Hi, Gochi. How are you? Sir? You okay? My girlfriend is definitely gonna watch this and say, I'm making some beans, some teriyaki fried chicken, and I'm gonna have chapatis to go with that. So yeah, that's what I'm making. This is Clinton a chain. That's what you asked. Yeah. I'm making some beans. I'm gonna make some teriyaki fried chicken, and then I'm gonna make some chapatis to go with that. So yes, that's what we're making for today. Hope you can stick around and watch. Please don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you. So I'm only going to use this for the beans. I'm usually too much intending to use it for the chicken. going to shower. This is not going to take long. Ooh, Cadiz, you say you're watching me from Barbados. Thank you so much for being here. And then this is Jamagila who asked what am I cooking. I'm gonna make some fried beans with a side of teriyaki fried chicken and some chapatis to go with it because of the beans. I always find like it's easier to have beans with either chapatis or rice. I don't understand how Europeans just eat beans like that. For me, it's very hard. Like just eating beans without adding any carbs is hard for me, but it's what I'm used to, so yeah. So that's what we're doing today. Teriyaki fried chicken and our beans and some chapatis to go with it. So my beans are already boiled and I'm boiling my chicken because I want to be sure it's well done. Actually, need to turn this off. We need to make sure it's well done. And then we have our chapatis. So today is not going to take so much time because almost everything is done. The chapati is done. No, the chicken is boiled. The beans is boiled. Only the chapatis we're making from scratch. And that I'm going to start making after finishing this process over here. These are my green chilies that are not even spicy. Crazy. But yeah, these are done. Hi Noku. Noku saying, can I have? You wanna have something to eat, Noku? So this is all that I needed to do. Now I need to make the chapati dough. Lord. Hi Ibrahim, welcome. Hi Lore Vaga, welcome. Babe, did you see where are you? Never mind. Oh, I didn't know you were there. Remember you're supposed to get that olive oil? Yeah. I hope that's enough for the 6. Hi Flamini. I'm really like every time I look at your name, guys, I try to read the one that is easiest to read. You all have so many unique names. Sometimes I'm like, am I reading it correctly? Like, and always I apologize if I'm not reading it correctly. It's not, well, it's not my intention to offend. Hey, what's up? What you up to? Guys, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It's the only way YouTube sends the algorithm my way. Okay. So when you're making the chapati, you can always use your hands to model this, but I often just go for the wooden stick, the cooking stick, because the wooden cooking stick, we call it muiko. I always go for the muiko because it minimizes the mess in your hands, and you cooking and touching other things, it literally minimizes, it eliminates the mess, because now I can at least handle other things while I do this as well. So that's an advantage if you ask me. So I always try to make like less than 10 chapatis, because once I make more, my husband doesn't eat all of them, and he's like, and then when I make less, he's like, I love chapatis. What do you mean? Yeah, so I've just resorted to making 6, and if you want to target that, you can always use a glass like this to measure. Yeah, just 1 glass is enough. It will give you 6 balls of chapati. Yeah, and chapati is made with wheat flour, so if you're wondering which flour I'm using, it's just wheat. Okay? That's all. That's all I'm using. Okay, so now that it's already hard and doesn't stick much, I'm just going to try and remove it from the cooking stick and see how ready it is just by turning it around and alternately testing it with my hands. Now I feel like it needs a bit more, which is like a pinch of that. That's it. Hi Jason Perry, thank you so much for your compliment. I appreciate it. Where are you watching from? So now I'm just trying to turn it around so it becomes less sticky. That's what I'm doing, okay? So now we have a dough, okay? I'm just going to remove this again. So I always try to make chapati like in between after the other meals are ready or almost ready, because I can't, if I make them already or I make chapati and then I make them, they're gonna cool off and you want to eat them when they're still warm and soft. And it's not like you can't maintain that, you can. But then again, I just like to arrange them, to plan them in a way that they all come out. The food comes out still warm. Yeah. Thank you, Jason. Hi, Gilson. How are you? Yeah, so this is what we use for rolling. You've probably seen this in a restaurant or in a pizzeria or something. Yeah, it's the same thing. So it's a rolling pin. It's a rolling board, and this is a rolling pin. Okay. And you don't need this to get wet because otherwise it becomes a mess. When it becomes a mess, it sticks. Oops. Okay. Okay, the next thing we're going to do is you want to split your balls, the doughs. That's the only balls I'm talking about. The dough, you want to split it. I'm going to add a bit of oil to that. Remember, I had placed some oil in the water that I was muddling it in when I started. So this other oil is just to make sure it doesn't stick on my palm when I'm separating it. So alternatively, instead of running oil here, you can still put some flour on here, like that. Now it's stuck on my hands. Yeah, so you can always measure the size that you want. Yes. Hi Ibrahim, what's up? Jason says he'd love to come and live here with me. Well, I'm gonna feed you and you're gonna get bigger. So probably might be a good idea to start with. And then if you live here, you have to go to the gym with me every day. That's how I keep up with all this. Yeah. I sacrifice the food with exercise. It's mandatory. Anyway, I'm just kidding. If you're my next door neighbor, you probably come over for dinner. We can have you. It is no problem. We can have you over for dinner every day. Yeah, guys, like I told you, this gives you 6 doughs. Okay? I have 6. I have 4 and then I have these 2. So it's 6. Thank you, Jason. Yeah. So now that we have our doughs ready, we're going to start rolling them. We roll, we put on a pan, we have cook, we repeat. Okay, the next thing is you need some oil on a side plate. This is what you will use for rolling, for cooking the chapati. You will need that. So I'm just gonna, the next step also, that's very important, you have to put some flour on the board so it doesn't stick when you're rolling it. So I'm just gonna put that there. Space, I'm gonna take that behind. I'm gonna put this next to that drink of mine that I never even had. Right. And then we're just gonna keep rolling. So you have to like touch on both sides. You just turn it on both sides. Make sure it's dusted properly with flour. Now, your pan over there. You need a spoon for the oil. This first round, you necessarily don't need to use the oil because you have to half cook them. Then you can start with the oil. I don't know if you get what I'm saying, but it's all not gonna make sense. It's all gonna make sense. Just give it time. So now I'm gonna roll this, and you have to be gentle. Don't overpress it. If you overpress it, some parts are gonna be thin, some parts are gonna be a bit bigger, and you have to keep changing sides and wiping the flour, dusting it basically on both sides, making sure your shape is turning into a circle, not triangles, please. People will judge you for making triangular chapatis. Well, not here, but here. They will judge you in East Africa, or Africa at large, if you ever go there. But chapatis are great. You can make them for breakfast, you can have them for dinner. They're really nice. They are those low-fat carbs. It's like bread. You can have this with your coffee, tea, porridge, whichever. So as long as it's a round shape, and you're feeling like all sides are equal, it's fine. Then you can put it on the pan, and then you move on to the next one. When you put it on the pan, when you place it on the pan, just ensure the sides that got attached on the wrong side are returned. Hi Kento, welcome to the live stream. How are you doing? Yeah. Dusting with flour. Don't use dust, okay? Don't use dust. With flour. It's called dusting because you're making both sides. You're running the flour on both sides so it doesn't stick. Also, when you're making chapati, this is something that probably nobody will tell you, but if you leave one to sit out here for long, it will overstretch and it will become like the bones will weaken and it will start running when you're pulling it up. So just make sure you're controlling the heat on the pan and you're not also leaving the one you're rolling here out for too long. Otherwise they start pulling like cheese, like hot cheese. So like this has already like coated, like it has dried. I just need to bring this to the pan because that's already done. And I need to stay longer as long as it's half cooked. Great. Once you bring it to the pan, make sure you're stretching the sides that we're trying to fold off. Yeah. The first one is a perfect circle. Hi, Faith. You had to come and call me a flexer over this side. Why haven't you slept, girl? Thank you for being here. It means a lot to me. Yeah. Guys, that's called Faith. That's my friend from Kenya. Yeah, and she's a deadly step dancer. You should watch her on the dance floor. No, we are making chapatis with beans and some chicken. Huku watu hawezi kula tu chapo beans hivyo, lazima wakule nyama. Yeah, so when you're doing this, make sure you're turning the other one as well. If you forget about it, you're gonna find it roasted and burnt. Yeah. So be gentle with it, don't forget that. While you're rolling. This looks fine. Once you're done, you put it aside, bring the new one, make sure it's fitting properly, the folded parts are stretched, and then you start rolling the next one. Hi Magonde, how are you? So, if you've noticed your heat is getting higher, just either slow it down if you can, or fasten up your second round. Like my pan has fully heated now, and it's starting to rush me. Make sure you're not panicking, because if you panic, the dough will panic with you too, and that is going to be a mess. So what you're doing here, you're basically pre-cooking it. You're pre-cooking it, so you're halfway making it. You don't want it to be overly cooked, but you also don't want it to leave there when it's still wet. So I'm just going to return the first one because it didn't turn brown like the other two. And since the pan has already heated now, it can do that while it waits for me to finish up this one. Hi Paul. Hi Kumalo. Hi Gregory. Thank you for being here, guys. We're doing this every single evening. If you ever run out of ideas for making dinner, or what you essentially just want to cook, or maybe you just enjoy watching people cooking, making meals, then you're in the right spot. Yeah. Sir, are you the one texting me, or is it Faith? Hi, Casey. Hi, Abdosh. So we're just rolling and turning. If you apply too much pressure, it's going to be very, very thin on one side. You're really trying to avoid that. Yes, you can always balance it back, but sometimes it takes too much time. That's either my mom or Faith. One of those people is texting me. Okay. Now, one to go, and then we're done with chapati, literally. Done with this pre-cooking step. Hi Tina. Hi Subirema. Hi Zenele. Welcome to the live stream, guys. Please don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. If you have, don't forget to like. Thank you so much for being here. We're always making some dinner every evening over here. So if this is something you enjoy watching, or you just like cooking or stuff like that, or maybe sometimes you don't know what you want to make for dinner, we have several things we've made on the channel, so you can always check them out. Yes. And if maybe what we are making today is not something you enjoy, then you can check out the others and you might find something actually interesting. Okay. I try to be as diverse as possible. I try to make different meals, different ways.
Говорите английски?
Да. Okay, and the journey of chapatis is halfway done. The next thing we're going to do is we're going to return them to this rolling board. This is done, the flour is done with, because I made only 6, the easiest ones to make. So we're just going to now start oiling them. As you can see, they've been half cooked. They are this brown with brown dots. Yeah. So now you're gonna oil them. This is just a method to cook them faster. You pre-cook them and then you start oiling them. Now, what do I mean by oiling them? While they're on the pan, just apply some oil all around them. This is also going to get into their system and they're going to soften up. Like I said, you can have chapatis for breakfast, you can have them for dinner, you can fry an egg and like an omelette or pan-fried egg and just put it in the middle and just bite it all together. It's really, there's so many ways of enjoying your chapati, so many. Okay, so don't be shy. Don't be shy. Yeah. So I'm basically just oiling it. I'm even removing the oil from the spoon, just so I can just rub the oil around. Remember, I had some oil. I added some oil in the what do I call it? The water that I was baking it in, and then I added again oil when I was rolling, making the balls, and now I'm only basically like polishing them with the oil. Yeah, they consume a lot of oil, so you have to be careful. That's why I'm really trying not to put too much again. If you ever go to East Africa, You will see how they're made. And I think a lot of people make chapatis. Even Indians make chapatis. So it's not just a cuisine for Africa and East Africa to be specific, but yeah, a lot of people do make chapatis and love chapatis. So you just put them on the pan. Just add some oil to it. Rub the oil all around. This is the easiest method to half cook them and cook them fast too. Because essentially you're just supposed to place them one by one on the pan, add some oil, wait for it to roast, add some oil, and that literally slows the whole process down. Which is why I never go for that method. It's a lot of people actually still use that method where they don't like pre-cook them like I did first. They just put them when they're wet on the pan, and then they wait for it to turn brown, and then they start oiling it, which in the end you will notice one chapati takes like 3 to 5 minutes, if you're lucky. Before you can have time to roll the other one, the pan is burning, everything is on fire, your house is on fire, your pans are on fire, you're sweating. Not good, guys. Just pre-cook them. After you've rolled them into the shape that you want to make it a triangle, I'm happy for you, but it's not the right way, but I'm happy for you. But yeah, once you make them into a nice circle, just put them over the pan to coat, to dry, to turn brown, so you can make the process halfway. Okay? And as you can see, I have used the least amount of oil, only because I have half cooked them, and then now I'm going over them with the heat. That's the only reason why they became so easy to finish. Okay. That seems to want to take a bit of time.
Hi Sibaru Rema. Hi Tina. Hi Zanele. Hi Jennifer Rose. And hello Andre.
Yeah, I love you all. So guys, while you're here, if you have already subscribed, please don't forget to like. It really means a lot to me. Thank you so much for being here. So after the chapatis, we're gonna fry our beans and then fry our teriyaki chicken. Yes, and then we're gonna show you how this final process looks like. The presentation of the meal, everything. Okay? I always like to make my meals very presentable. I think it's a way to trick your brain to eat. Yeah, it's literally why restaurants make their meals look presentable, because they know if they just dump everything over there, you're just gonna eat because you're hungry, but you're not gonna eat because it's inviting or welcoming. The food might be nice, but if it's not well presented, it just doesn't feel welcoming. Also, the food can be terrible and well presented, and you'll still eat because people are gonna assume it's tasty. Okay? Yeah. So I encourage anybody that is cooking from home, make it aesthetically pleasing. You'll see how much that can change. Even for your kids, like when you're serving them, just make the food look welcoming and pleasing. They're probably gonna wanna try. They're gonna be intrigued to like, wow, what is this? Who is this diva? Who's cooking? It's your mom, okay? Alright, so this is our final chapati. Then we can move on. I think you've noticed how when they come from the heat, they are very white and then they settle down. It's now the oil that is walking, like running through them, and it's getting absorbed. Yes, that's what's happening. So as you can see, I used the least amount of oil. Yes, really, really tiny. I tried. Because chapatis consume a lot of oil, a lot. Especially if you don't add when you're like when you're making the dough. When you don't add oil, then it just becomes like a chewy, gummy, dried up. It doesn't have the puff layers that pops when you add the oil. So adding the oil helps with the puffing. The layers will just be peeling, literally peeling off the chapati. But if it's just like with water, no oil in the mix, and no oil when you're making the dough, it's gonna have this thick, stark layer in the middle that is not making any peels, any layers of oil, none. Yeah. It's only that here we don't have enough space. In Africa, after I make the dough, I'm supposed to spread it out on a flat surface and apply some oil onto it, and then cut them into strips and then roll them with that oil. And now every layer has oil within it, which eventually, when you're eating, it just peels, like every layer peels. But this still works. This actually still works because there's oil in the water that I mixed it with. There's oil when I was making it into dough, and then now there's oil over here. So don't worry, guys. We got this. Yeah. So the thing with cutting your ingredients prior is how it makes the work easier. Now I'm done with the pan. To cool it off. Yeah, completely cooled off. Now, oh, there's some water within this. So, to ensure you have moisture on these chapatis, you have to wrap them. Preferably with a cling film, which is always the best for this. And I'm just going to put it on the plate first because usually it gets a bit wet from the steaming. Yes. Now I'm just going to place this on top of that. And now you wrap it. Okay, Now they're not going to be dried up. They're going to retain their moisture. Since our beans are the closest thing ready, we're going to add some onions. Everything on that is going for the beans. This needs to go back to my fridge. Let's just stay here. Oh. Yeah, so you put your onions. I'm hoping this has heated up. Let's see. Okay. Not necessarily looking for it to turn brown for the onions, but I do want it to please try. This is my chicken that has its own oil. I'm gonna add some bell peppers. And as always, I'm gonna turn that to the other side. Where is my knife? I'm gonna turn that to the other side. The chicken is also very soft. If we don't buy this in bulk, I'm always scared maybe it's gonna be hard or something. So it explains why I had to boil it. Sometimes I'm just scared. Forgot my tomatoes, but it's fine. I can still add them. They're gonna have the juice anyway. That's no problem. But I genuinely forgot. Genuinely. Let's hope they catch up. We're gonna add some salt there. Yep. Ha! Officer. Once this is done, I'm going to turn it to the other side. My chicken on the other side is very tender. God, it's so tender. You know. Oh, so good. Well, I did add some salt. I'm just gonna see. Didn't go anywhere. This is literally how I try to not use every pan in the house. Fry, turn around, fry. Especially if it's possible. I don't do that with all the meals, but especially if my beans are already boiled and they don't need to be in another plate. I just fry it, turn it back. Okay, now we're on the chicken. In the meantime, my beans needed a bit of water, so I added some water on that. I'm gonna add a bit of salt because the salt was far there. Yeah, I'm gonna add some salt. That's done. Let's put that aside. Yeah, it's fine.
Hi Rebecca, how are you?
Yeah, so my chicken has this natural, oh babe, stop. My chicken has this natural oil to it, which is coming from the skin, obviously. And that means I need to only put a tiny bit of oil, which today saved my life because, well, Mr. Officer over here was told to come back with some olive oil and he clearly forgot, so, right? What? Stir. I'm gonna add a very tiny bit of salt to this. Very tiny bit. My God, guys. I wish I can eat it like this because it's already soft and very, very tender looking. But I just want this crispiness because we're gonna go through the other part where we add teriyaki. So while all that is happening, I'm going to literally clean a million and one things that I've been using the whole time. And some of them are basically things that were here, need to go to that side, okay? And I'm gonna add my green chilies that literally have no spice in them into my beans, because they clearly don't make any difference. It's not that spicy. And then I'm going to cover my beans. I'm going to wash them. I'm going to add this there.
We have Albert who said hi, and Suzanne Mangoli. Hi Suzanne, hi Albert. And Gusen is still like and Mfo said hi. I hope I read that right. Is that how to pronounce your name? Mfo? Mfo. So let's just be here because oh God. Yeah. Venting plates. Don da. This is Newhan. Let's say hi. Hello. So currently we are waiting for our chicken to sort of give us some brown roasting color. But like I said, it's very tender. And it's really dry. Really trying to do the stuff. After that, we're going to serve because everything is now ready. Except the chicken, which takes less time. I think you can hear all the drums going pop, pop. The popping sound. Okay, Matt, we hear you. Hi Lucy, hi Gusel. What's up, Gusel? What's up? What's going on? What's going on, man? So,
Our chicken is telling us that it's almost there. I'm gonna add some spices, a bit of red chili powder because my husband doesn't like to be roasted with spices, but still, I do it. Why not? And since the chicken was not like leaning towards the spices more, it's just gonna be a tiny touch, not too much. Yeah, and this we're gonna add, then we're gonna go over. I think I added some salt if you noticed when I was making it from the start. I added some salt before turning it over to the pan. If you remember that part, you were paying attention. Yeah.
so that was black pepper, red chili pepper, and
Paprika. For some reason, I always confuse paprika with cayenne. I don't know why.
sometimes I say paprika and I mean cayenne, sometimes I say cayenne and I mean paprika.
Just gonna add this. This is our teriyaki kikoma sauce. Okay? Oops, I need to give it a bit of time to dry up some more. In the meantime, our beans are boiling like very slowly, which is what I wanted. Yeah, because if I let it under high heat, it is going to start burning from the bottom. Oh my god, I scooped the chili part. Believe me, it's fine. Trust me. Trust nobody but me. Go to trustmebro.com to find out how much you trust me. Right. So, once we add the teriyaki, we can't take too long. That's why I'm going to roll my chapati. Give it a bit of a slice. I'm going to take just one chapati. For presentation purposes, looks very moist and soft. What you want to do is you want to roll it. I always like to just stick it up with a toothpick because it holds it so nicely. Hi Zara. Welcome to the live stream. Yeah. I always like to have my toothpick hold it before I can cut it into half. Don't worry, the chicken is fine. Then I'm going to cut it into like coarse. Okay, something like that. And then I'm going to stick this up together because why not? Basically how they present your burger, and then I'm going to stick it up like that into the meal. For now, we can sit down there. We can finish up with the chicken. This is what I wanted, the crispiness, but also making sure it was done, and it is done. So now, we're adding the teriyaki. Remember, it has I always love that smell of teriyaki, man. Yeah, so it's crisp. It's sitting under there. Now we're gonna serve this. If you're not a fan of teriyaki, don't do it. Okay. So that's going in. I always try not to add too much soup from the beans. For some reason, it always just follows me. The thing about teriyaki is that it goes into the chicken completely and it gives it another really brown look. Also consider this chicken. Oh my god, it has a bit of spice, which is a good thing. Yeah, so now that's good. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to stick our chapatis in this corner. And then now let's show you what this looks like. We can have some little chicken on that side. Ooh. You ready? Of course you're ready. Okay, let's show you how this meal looks like so everybody can go to bed, okay? Sure. So are you ready? Of course you're ready. What else would you be if you want? Okay, so here we go. This is how golden brown the chicken looks like. You see that? That's the teriyaki sauce in it that's making it look like that. Yeah, so on the other far end we have our beans, literally tomatoes and onions and bell peppers mixed together, the red and the green. You can add the yellow one if you have it, but it's all that. And then the teriyaki, the chicken teriyaki, I basically boiled the chicken because I wanted it to be soft, extra soft. And then I pan fried it because I wanted it to be crisp on the outside. The boiling was to make sure it is done, okay? And then I pan fried it to make sure it's crisp. I added salt, I added some red chili powder, I added some paprika and some black pepper. So it's also a bit spicy, okay? And then once it's golden brown and crisp, you add the teriyaki sauce and then you just turn it together while it just boils in there. And teriyaki actually changes. Yeah, it does. It turns to this brown color. It changes. So that's what we have for today. This is going to be our dinner. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you can actually see it. I'm just going to make the chapatis stand on their own. That's why they're like, yeah. So, but the chicken looks really, really amazing. I love it. I love how it looks. Can you see that? Yeah, thanks. I know you can see it. Hi, Alime. Yes, thank you so much for being here, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the preparation of this meal. I hope you can try making this from home. Actually, teriyaki also goes really well with pork chops. If you try that, just try to make them crisp and then do the whole thing. It's going to taste amazing. Thank you so much for watching. Always doing this every single evening. If this is something that you enjoy or you just love food, you're a foodie, you're a food lover, I'm here for you, okay? I'm a foodie too. So thank you so much for watching. From wherever you're watching us from, have a good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night. This is going to be our dinner, so for us it's going to be a good night. It's currently 22:47 over here, and that's usually the time we have dinner. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to this video, to this channel. We are always doing this every single evening. I also do live stream fitness every day at the gym, and we also do aerobics dance on Saturday. Don't forget to tune in for that because that's the only day I don't go to the gym. Thank you for watching. I love you from the bottom of my heart. Bye.